Life is not a problem to be solved, but a reality to be experienced. That is a quote by Soren Kierkegaard.
Welcome to Trina Talk. Trina Talk is a weekly podcast that will inspire and empower women of all ages to strive for the impossible. Your host, Trina L. Martin from TrinaMartin.com, is a motivational speaker, leader, and cyber tech expert. Every week, Trina will share wisdom gained from her life experiences and lessons learned while pursuing her goals to inspire you to achieve the next level in your life. Now, your host, Trina L. Martin.
Hello, welcome to Trina Talk. I am your host, Trina L. Martin, and this is episode 52. Before we go into the episode, just want to keep you guys updated with the status of my book, From a Mess to Amazing, 7 Steps to Create the Life That You Deserve. The development of the book is going along very nicely. It is with the designer right now, and it is being designed for layout in book format, so paperback, hardcover, and ebook. So that's being worked on right now. I'm also developing a trailer for the book. So that's going to be very interesting, and I'm very excited about that. And I'm going to want your feedback on that as well. The topic of this week's episode is Pursue Your Dreams. My guest this week is Carly Tabor. Carly helps purpose-driven women to create consistent clients, make $5,000 months their normal, all while achieving a greater work-life balance. After 10 successful years growing the brands, communities, and sales for leading Australian companies, she wanted more freedom to make a real difference in the world. She quit her 9-to-5 and moved to Bali, where she works on her terms, supporting purpose-driven women to become wildly profitable and positively impact many. Hi, Carly. Welcome to Trina Talk.
Thanks, Trina. I'm excited to be here.
Oh, you are living your best life. You are living your dream. So why don't you tell the listeners about who you are and how you come to be at the place where you are today?
Sure. So I'm a business coach for purpose-driven women who are wanting to start or scale their business online so that they too can live their dream life. And for some, that is to be able to travel and work and, be traveling the world while they're working. And for others, that's being able to have the flexibility to spend more time with their family and be an available mother and things like that. So that's what I do. And how I got here, how much do I tell? The short version is, so the big catalyst for me was a yoga teacher training. I have a background of 10 years in marketing and digital and management. And then almost 3 years ago, I did a yoga teacher training here in Bali. And that was really where I let go of a lot of fears, and that enabled me to be able to, I guess, build up the courage so that I was able to resign from my job and start a new life.
So you were in corporate,
yeah,
and you went to Bali for a yoga certification training class?
Yep.
Okay. So not many people would leave their corporate job to move to another country. Tell me, what was it that just made such an impression on you that you did that?
I'd been to Bali a couple of times before, and my partner and I have done a lot of traveling over the last 10 years or so. So I hadn't always had a huge urge to live overseas in general, but in Australia there's this woman, Trina, and she's the host of a travel show called Getaway, and which I'm not even sure if it's still around, but I always wanted to be her when I was little, being able to sort of travel around. And I think, we'd done all this traveling, and I love experiencing new things, And I guess it got to the point in Sydney where I was burnt out from the corporate life and really wanted a change. And Bali just seemed like the perfect place to do that. It's still close to Australia. It's still close to family and friends. And and having been to the yoga teacher training, I guess it had a big place in my heart in that I've created a lot of really nice memories here. And yeah, at the start of that year when we decided to move, I did say to my partner, let's move to Bali this year. So I guess the intention for a specific place was there. And then the little steps throughout the year, the main one being doing the teacher training here, were I guess what made it end up happening, in that, I came and really enjoyed it, and then that inspired me to keep going.
So how long was it in between from the time that you decided to relocate to the time that you actually did? And tell me about your fears and everything that went on during that time for you to make this journey.
Yeah. So when at the start of the year, when I said to my partner, let's move to Bali, I honestly didn't think it would happen. It was sort of more of one of those all talk, no action things. Like I really wanted to, but in my heart and mind, I couldn't see it playing out in a future tense. And so then it was in the yoga teacher training that I decided, yep, I'm ready to do this and I can do it. And so that was in the September. My partner came over after the yoga teacher training, and he'd never been to Bali, and he came for 2 weeks, and I gave him a highlights reel of the island and made sure that he loved it. And then we went back to Sydney in the October, and we were both still at our jobs. And then we moved here in the January. So it was about three months. And I guess during that time, because the decision was made, the wheels had started to, be in motion. There was definitely a fear. I remember being back in Sydney and we were booking our one-way tickets to Bali, and I just sort of was chickening out and scared to do it. And I think the tickets from Sydney to Bali were $300 per person. And my boyfriend said to me, look, let's book the tickets, and at least that way, we're committing to it. And the worst thing that happens is we, change our mind in the next 2 months or so and we don't go and we lose $300. And, in the big scheme of things, that's not the worst thing. But there was definitely some resistance there, just, I guess, fear in actually moving forward and making it happen. And he definitely helped me. I think it really helped having someone by your side who's on the same page and really excited to do the same things. But the fear was probably more so before the decision to leave and before coming back into Australia. And that was what I really, like all of these sort of veils of fear, like an onion unlayering, that I really sort of let go of in the yoga teacher training. And the biggest one of those was around money. And I have an amazing mum who did everything to make ends meet and make sure I never went without as a child, but it also allowed me to see a life that I guess I didn't really want for myself. So that throughout my teens and early 20s really, I guess, fueled me to create a job and a lifestyle and I guess ultimately a paycheck that would allow me to never really have to be in that position. So I guess the fear of lack of abundance served me really well for a long time. But then it was at the point where it was holding me back because that lifestyle was not what I wanted anymore. So it was really letting go of that fear and realizing that I would be okay. And that came down to sort of thinking, and having the conversation around what is the worst thing that can happen. And the worst thing that could happen is that I go back to Sydney to what is I guess on paper, and like I still did enjoy it. I just wanted something more, like, but it's still a good life, right? So it was like, okay, well, all we can do is try, like just one step at a time, just give it a go.
Mm-hmm. Now, what did your families think when you guys said, okay, this is what we're doing? And did they say, are you crazy? You have good jobs and an established life here, and now you're giving it all up to go somewhere else? What was their opinions?
Yeah. Everyone was supportive overall. I think my mom and my grandmother were very nervous. Like they were, supportive, and mum always comes down to, as long as you're healthy and happy. But I'm sure that if they were in my shoes, they wouldn't have done it. And I guess that can still be evident. So, that it's hard to remember, but I think there was definitely some times where they sort of voiced their concerns around, I'm at a really good point in my career, and just sort of letting it go, I guess. And I don't think I really saw it as letting it go. And I was at a point where I was sure enough in myself and my decision that the comments that were made, whether it was from family or other people, like I think family is probably most supportive, and it was more sort of, and friends, but then other people the people whose opinion you don't care so much about are the people who give their opinion. And I think, because I was sure enough in what I was doing, and I had a plan, it didn't affect me too much. But I definitely heard their concerns and listened and was fully aware of them. But it was probably more from a career perspective. And then obviously my parents both were sad that I'd be far away from them, and they still keep asking when I'm coming home.
Well, you made a good point about people who really don't matter in the scheme of things. They're always the ones that are the most vocal and expressing their opinions. But I find it very inspiring that you so brave and you stuck to your decision. And even though you had fear, and your loved ones were voicing their fear for you as well, that you said, no, this is what I made up my mind, and you went and you followed through. So that in itself, that's like the hardest part right there.
Yeah, looking back, it was probably also the most exciting as well. I think sometimes it's hard to, like, fear and excitement can sometimes manifest in the body as a very similar feeling. And I was definitely scared about the move. But the potential and the excitement and the possibility of what was possible was bigger.
So you are in Bali now. So tell me about life.
Yeah. So from a day-to-day basis, or
just from, are you loving it? How did you integrate with things and your business? How did it take out? Just, because I was looking at some of your pictures, and just to hear it in your voice, you sound like you're so happy, and that this was a passion of yours that you actually got to follow through on. And not everyone gets to live out their passion. So tell me how life is treating you now.
It's treating me very well, I think. And this is one of those things where sometimes you just have to pinch yourself in that. I'm often asked, what's next? And of course, like, while I do have goals, at the same time, this was my dream. And I think we're often living in a world where we're so focused on being the next thing, having the next thing, doing, wanting, all that sort of stuff. And for years, this was my dream, and it still it's everything I imagined, and it makes me really happy. And I know that it was the right decision and everything has worked out. So yes, I guess in answer to your question, it does feel really good. And, moving overseas, wherever it is, isn't always what people expect. And, it works out for some people and doesn't work out for others. I know people who've sort of tried to move here and left in the time that I've been here because it wasn't for them. But this place felt very aligned to me on a sort of energetic perspective and or level, and just in terms of it's a really nice like physical space, but then also from a spiritual perspective, I think the island has a really nice energy and it's very calming. And even though the roads can be quite chaotic at times, I find it a peaceful place to be. And so then in terms of integrating, there's a huge expat community here, which I guess there is in any country, but that always helps. And because all of the locals speak English, I speak a little bit of Bahasa, but I have to be honest, I'm nowhere even close to fluent, because even when you do start to speak the local language, they respond in English. I think they always appreciate when you say little things here and there, but then I think they also like the opportunity to practice English with you. So integration, I think also having my partner was quite seamless, and we were very lucky in that sense, because I have seen other people move here and it just be one thing after another of things going wrong. So we were very lucky. And then on a business perspective or a business front, all of my work is online. So the location doesn't matter so much when we've traveled. And I mean, we spent 8 weeks, I think it was, in Thailand. Was it last year or the year before? And then obviously whenever I'm back in Australia, I will still work with clients when I'm there. So the location doesn't matter so much.
So your business, you didn't have this started in Australia. This is something that you started once you moved to Bali?
Correct, yes.
So how did that come about? How did you decide that you were going to build this online business and basically work, but still have time to live and enjoy that life that you had just decided that you were going to go ahead and pursue?
Yeah. So when I was in my corporate job, I had started my own website on the side, which was a health and wellness website, which wellness professionals contributed content to, and I was marketing and building a community. And so I'd started that a year or two before I did the yoga teacher training. And that started as a passion project because I wanted a place to be able to, I guess it was coming from that sort of innate feeling of wanting to have more of an impact and sense of purpose in the world. And that allowed me to really utilize my marketing and digital skill set to create a platform where wellness professionals could share their expertise and have a voice and connect with people who are wanting their services and knowledge. So that worked out quite well, I guess, in that it started as a passion project and I began to monetize that. So that also helped in moving over in that I had an income stream. And it also really helped me build a great network of contacts and yet another, I guess, case study to prove the results that I can generate. And so then after I resigned, that really was, I guess, a key kind of part in my story, in that I actually had people, a couple of people who were friends of friends, old colleagues, and then people who had been contributing to my website who, once they found out what I was doing, asked if I'd be willing to help them in their business or with their business. And that's sort of where coaching begun. And I'd had people mention it in the past that it would be a great thing for me to be doing. I never really took it seriously, but then all of a sudden, my website wasn't anywhere near matching my corporate salary. So when you do have people sort of wanting something from you, when you need an income, you do what it takes. And so, yes, I started to say yes to those opportunities, and that's where it all begun to really kickstart from. Once I had a couple of people ask, I thought, oh gosh, in my job, I'm really experienced from a mentoring and teaching and training perspective, but I have no idea, or I didn't have the confidence around what it meant to be a coach. So I did do a 6-month intensive to really up that skill set. And my intention wasn't to start coaching until I finished that, but 2 months in, that already gave me the confidence that I needed to start working with clients.
Wow. So your clients, and you said they can be all over the world because your business is online. Are you, when you coach, do you have certain days and hours that you run your business and then the rest where you and your boyfriend just enjoy your life? Because, you made that move and you don't want to spend your whole life working. So you want to enjoy while you move there. Tell me about that.
Yeah. So I guess the pretty hard-coded sort of boundaries are I definitely don't work weekends, and I'm not that great at working in the evening either. My partner finishes at 3:30, so that's always a nice incentive to try and mirror him. I definitely don't. Sometimes I start earlier and finish earlier, I start later, finish later, or sometimes I start earlier and finish later than him. But as a general rule, I really like to cluster my client-facing work. So if I'm doing client sessions, I try to cluster them into 3 days. And then that allows me 2 days of the week to work on the business and sort of do things behind the scenes, and just also have that breathing space to collect my energy and look after me, make sure that I'm able to show up to those calls ready for them, rather than, I don't really have a desire to do five days a week of jam-packed calls.
Mm-hmm.
Because they do take a lot of energy, and there's a lot of holding space and talking and strategizing, and so I find it really helpful to cluster those into different time frames and then have my own time out of that.
I think that's a key thing, because I think once we have our own business, I think we're so set on building that business and doing things that we jam pack our schedule, and we get into our own business because you want that freedom. You want the freedom to do what you love to do, whether that's spending time with your family or travel or whatever. But then we find that we've booked our calendar so tightly that we can't do the things that we started this business for. So it starts to feel like we're in corporate again.
Yeah. No, look, to be honest, I'm not immune. I think we can all get into that position at some point. For me, it comes down to prioritizing and being really clear on what is the most important thing to be doing today, and what is going to make the biggest impact for me, for my clients, and in my business right now. And that is the thing to do, because I don't believe that you need to be, working a 40-hour week to have a thriving business or be profitable if you're focusing on the right things.
Wow. So you make your priority list. You have you have your systems in place. You have your priority list. You do your batch work where you have your 3 days where you do your calls, and then the rest of the time is for you and your partner.
Yeah.
So what type of things do you guys like to do? What do you do when you're not working?
Together, there is a really great eating out sort of scene here. So to be honest, it's usually revolved around going out for a meal or coffee of sorts, which I absolutely love. And I think that was probably also one of the reasons of why I was so excited to move here as well. So to be completely honest, that's a really big part of it and probably the majority of what we do. And beyond that, it might be like for me going to yoga, catching up with a friend, going to the beach for sunset, either for a walk or to have a coconut. I really love getting massages, and they're really great here. So it's usually a mix of sort of uh, friends and food and pampering.
That sounds lovely. You know, you said, oh, you get a coconut and you're relaxing the massage. And I'm going, I want to be there because that sounds like heaven. And I'm listening to the birds chirping in the background where you are. And I'm going, wow, I don't know when the last time I actually heard a bird chirping.
Really?
Yeah, and probably I'm sure they do, but I'm just with the hustle and bustle of life and the big city and things like that. You don't tune in to things like that where when you're in a place that's calm and peaceful, it causes you to slow down and appreciate things more. Because I mean, even in your tone, you sound so relaxed and at peace. And
I'm not always. When you were saying that, I was agreeing, and I think that is a large piece of why I chose this as a place, going back to your question at the beginning. But then also, like we've spoken about off the recording, wherever you go, you can create your problems will come with you. And I think so much of how you're feeling and whether you are present of your surroundings and whether you can notice the bird chirping is so much down to your mindset and how you choose to be in any given moment.
hmm yes, yes. Now, are you doing any yoga classes? Are you teaching any of those or no?
No, I never, after doing the yoga teacher training, I never became a teacher. So going into it, that wasn't my intentions. I thought that I could, I was open to the idea that I might finish the training thinking that that was my path now. But as I expected, it wasn't. So it's definitely just remained a passion. And actually right now I haven't been going that often, but generally, yes, it's a big part of my life and my practice. I have a really great studio that I go to with really awesome teachers. So that's usually, how it's part of my life. But I think, to be honest, in Sydney, it really helps keep me sane and like with that busy lifestyle. And I found it really helpful. And it is still really helpful. And, I know if I am feeling stressed that if I up my yoga classes, then that's the perfect antidote. However, it's also at a point where I know that my yoga practice is strong enough that I don't need to go 4 times a week, because so much of the yoga practice is not so much what you do in the class, but how you react or not react, but just how you live your life off the mat and in every other moment in the day, and applying those sort of principles of mindfulness and awareness in any other happening.
Yes. Well, I can sit here and talk to you forever because I love the fact that you're living your dream. I love to hear that when people say, I'm living my dream, my passion. I'm very happy, because that's very inspiring, because so many people are just going through life and they're not happy, and they really don't know that they're not happy. They're just kind of on autopilot. They're on the rinse and repeat cycle. And it's very sad. And it's great that you have come to that point where you have made your life something that you are passionate about and that you are at peace with. So I really love that.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you for sharing. It is exciting. I feel like there's a bit of a shift in the world in that more people are choosing this path and sort of getting out of the social norms and constructs and, that life where you tick things off the list to, do things a certain way, which is, really exciting to see other people doing so as well. And, I love seeing my clients do the same. So it is inspiring, whether I guess you don't always find yourself inspiring, but I am even inspired by clients doing it. So, it is exciting.
Yes. So on that note, we're going to go into our questions. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
Okay. Who or what motivates you?
My clients really do. That's a very easy one. They show up and do the work from a personal growth perspective and in their business, and that really inspires me and motivates me to show up and be the best mentor that I can be for them.
Okay. What demotivates you?
Oh gosh, I think even just the feel. I guess what's coming to mind is when I'm feeling unmotivated, it's a general feeling of overwhelm. And so I guess that comes down to what we were speaking about before. If things aren't prioritized enough, or just getting bogged down in the day to day, when you're not able to, I guess, spend your time as you want. So if I'm feeling overwhelmed, that's definitely demotivating, but it's also motivating in the sense that it forces you to, get everything in order again.
Mm. When was a time that something was said or done to hurt you, but it worked for your good?
That's a good question. The thing that's coming to mind, I'm not even sure what would have been said, but I am thinking about a time in the past in a previous job, not the one before I moved over here, but where I had a boss who wasn't happy with what I was doing. I remember we were doing road shows around the country, and I was teaching marketing to our sort of clients, for want of a better word. And he, coming from a financial background, didn't see the value in marketing and wanted to cut it out. And then I remember we did a survey and asked attendees about their favorite parts, and then I wasn't expecting marketing to be their favorite, but it was. But I guess really not having his support or belief in what I was doing and the impact that I was having, and I guess whatever he would have been saying at the time, I would have found very demotivating in sense of the job, but it also inspired me to, one, sort of prove him wrong in that, which came through in the results, but then two, inspired me to move on and keep traveling and start working towards this sort of lifestyle. So little things like that where people, I guess, leave a little imprint on you in not the nicest of ways can definitely be fuel for you to get to where you want to be.
Mm. What is your fear?
What is my fear? You know what? I still have fears around money in that, and this is, and they're, I don't want to dismiss them too much, but they're irrelevant in the sense that I've already identified it's not going to be a problem. Otherwise, I never would have been able to move here. But I guess there's still a little bit of that deep-seated fear from when I was little around the lack of abundance. Okay. And I'm saying that like living in my beautiful villa and, life is good, but I guess we all still have fears.
Mm-hmm. Is there a time when you wish you had done something that you didn't?
Not that I can think of off the top of my head, but I'm sure definitely many times throughout life, but not big enough that I have a huge regret.
Okay. So here's the opposite. Is there a time you wish you had not done something?
No, I don't think so. I think had I not taken the biggest thing for me is having taken the leap to move here. That's the sort of biggest decision. And had I not done that, I would definitely I'd have some regret around that. Yeah.
Okay. What is your definition of success?
To me, success is different for everyone, and what is success to me might not be success to someone else, but ultimately for me it is a feeling of being happy in your heart and happy with the way in which you're living your life and the people that you are surrounded with, and having, for me personally, it's having a sense of freedom in who, what, how, where I spend my life. But success to me, comes more down to a feeling than a number in the bank or anything like that, because I think when we're on our deathbed, we're not going to be thinking, oh, gee, I'm so great that I worked 80 hours a week, but we will regret having not spent the time with loved ones and things like that. So, happiness for me is about a feeling and freedom and creating memories with loved ones.
How do you recharge?
Through spending time with friends or my partner, sort of going out for a meal or a drink or going to yoga or a massage.
Okay. What are you awesome at?
What am I awesome at? What I do for work, I know I do well because it works and my clients get results. So marketing, particularly in the digital space, and mindset are for sure my strengths.
What legacy do you want to leave?
I want to inspire and empower other women to feel empowered that they can live the life that they dream about and not feel like they have to follow the motions of what society expects them to do if that's not what they want to do. So really, I guess the legacy is, inspiring and empowering others to live a life that lights them up.
Give the listeners one motivational takeaway.
I love the quote, do what sets your soul on fire.
Okay. So tell the listeners how they can connect with you.
Through my website, which is carlytaber.com, on LinkedIn, which you can search my name, or I think the URL is Carly Taber Business Coach, or over on Instagram, and my name there is just my name, so it's Carly Taber.
Okay, Carly. Well, I thank you for taking time out of your busy schedule to be on Trina Talk. I enjoyed speaking with you, and hopefully we'll meet one day and we can collaborate in the future.
That would be awesome. And thank you so much for having me.
If you like Trina Talk, please don't forget to go out to Apple Podcasts to subscribe. Also, who else in your life do you know that needs some motivation and inspiration in their life? Don't forget to share Trina Talk with them. I hope you have a great week. And remember, if you change your mindset, you can change your life. Keep striving, because success is a journey, not a destination. You can listen to Trina Talk anytime and anywhere. It's available on iTunes, Google Play Music, Stitcher, Spotify, and all other places that you can listen to podcasts. If you like the podcast, please don't forget to go to iTunes to subscribe, rate, review, and share. If you have questions for me or need inspiration on how to go to the next level, tweet me directly at Trina L. Martin.